Hey gang, welcome to our week post Saturday meeting. I hope that everybody recuperated after our 6 hours of online video meeting, Zoom. So I wanted to follow up and say thank you to all of you for taking time out of your Saturday to practice up on your counseling. Also, as I mentioned in the previous discussion board, go ahead and practice. Go ahead and practice on unsuspecting loved ones and those around you to help hone in those skills and make those new connections and modify your communication habits. So we each have dynamics that we're used to, especially with our loved ones. As I mentioned, I think during our video time together, uh, we're usually a 50-50 at least partner in those type of relationships. When we're counseling, our perspective is much less important. The perspective that matters is that of the client. And so, 80% of the time should be them speaking, because you're trying to actively find out what's going on and discern what's the problem is, what the root of the issue is, and helping them find strengths, helping them find inherent skills to be able to solve those problems. Of course, as we're talking about in our book, there are some techniques that we can use to show our expertise, but the bigger part of showing our expertise is discovering what's going on with our clients. So each one of you, if they feel pressure to implement a technique, I would caution you that the better part of that still is just listening and trying to discover. And so if you go into each one of your sessions, your demonstrations, with a spirit of curiosity, how you can learn more about that person, how you can deeply understand them better, that is going to serve as the essence of your technique and the ground upon which you're going to build. So with that in mind, I'm going to tentatively jump into our cognitive behavioral content for this week. And I say tentatively because cognitive behavioral is pretty heavy on, or can be pretty heavy on, education. Yet there are ways that we can use this cognitive behavioral technique. Here's CBT Approaches Continued, that's this week. There are ways that we can use this technique to our advantage to help us figure out what is going on. And this is really what drives my own therapy. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking to you about CBT and how to implement it. And I shared a resource for you. That resource can be found by going to the course modules, Module 7, and then pulling up this blank Think, Feel, Do worksheet. I'm going to replace this with the video that I'm producing, so more content is coming right now. And so if you look at this particular sheet, come on, this sheet is not working. Get this sheet in order. Okay, here we go. So this is a very concrete way into understanding CBT, and it's blank because you can have your client fill this out, or you can fill this out with them in the session. And so after you go into really establishing rapport, focusing on that summary, focusing on reflecting, helping deepen that conversation, curiously asking open-ended questions to understand them more, then you can go into helping them, or at least this is what I did in my own therapy, is helping them understand how their thoughts, their feelings, and their behaviors are all connected. And so this is called the cognitive triangle, think, feel, do, TFD, think, feel, do cycle. And it's it's based, it's a kind of a hybrid off of, it's a hybrid off of REBT, the ABCDEF model, which is highlighted in the notes from Ellis, but it's also kind of hybrid from Beck. So this is, so if you're writing this in like a comprehensive exam, be careful to discern what comes from Ellis, what comes from Beck. This comes from really an amalgamation of what their ideas are. Might even include Meichenbaum in there too. So here's the event, here's the stimulus, something happens. So if you're helping an adolescent work through this, so, you know, I got a bad grade in algebra. I tell myself something, I suck at math. I feel something crappy, afraid that I'm not going to pass, angry at the teacher. So you can have many different entries into these as well. You can have many different thoughts. And how does that impact your behaviors? I don't study, I just suck, I'm not going to get better. There's that absolutistic thinking, I just suck, I'm not going to get better. And so then you go down here. Are my thoughts accurate? Well, yeah, because I flunk every one of my algebra tests. Are my thoughts helpful? No, not particularly. Am I falling into a thinking mistake trap? If so, which one? And so I will try to, in fact, your textbook goes into some of those traps. Let me see if I can pull out some in our resources too. I'll try to post those up there too. If so, which one? What could I say to myself that would be more, and so that would be absolutizing, you know, I'm never going to get better. What could I say to myself that would be more accurate, positive, or helpful? Well, let's think about this. So if you're motivationally interviewing someone, what could you say to yourself? Because it would be more appropriate for the client to figure that out for themselves rather than you give it to them. Even though you want to wear this expert hat, it's the client really is their own expert. So what is something else that they could say? And so if it's a client, you know, hopefully they come up with, well, I don't know. And if they do say that, well, let's take a look at some different things that you could say and give them a menu of options. You could say, it's my teacher's fault. She's not helping me. They're not teaching me good enough. It's my previous training in math's fault. It's school's fault because they didn't help me become prepared for algebra. You could say, it's my fault because I just suck at algebra. You could modify that and say, I just didn't do very good on this test because I didn't study. So out of those four, which one? And I always like a whiteboard as I'm doing this, so it can help them see what I'm talking about. And out of those four, which one is more helpful? And so, well, you know, probably the one that I didn't study on this test. So it's not going to change how you feel, but it will change what you do. And so what might it change? Well, you know, I could study next time. And so next time a test comes up, the event, I got a C. All right. I tell myself something. Well, I still am not that good at math, but I did pass. I feel something. I don't feel bad, you know. I feel okay with it. I do something and maybe it continue and see how it changes that feedback loop. How would I feel if I told myself this? So again, you're welcome to use this. This is taken from Monica Fitzgerald, University of South Carolina. This actually comes from TF-CBT training. So this is helpful, hopefully, helping you work through the REBT CBT, you know, the CBT model. I actually try to do something a little bit different. And so I feel like this is okay with adolescents, especially like 15, 14, 13 years old, maybe even 12, you know, decent readers. When people get older, you know, they're a little more cognitively capable. They are more cognitively capable. And so especially when I work with adults, I make this quite a bit different. And so here's my own model. we'll basically make an infinity symbol. And, whoops, sorry, you weren't seeing what I was seeing. I'll basically make an infinity symbol, and thoughts are up here, feelings are over here, behaviors are down here, if my keyboard responds. And in the middle of this, so this is me putting Beck in the middle of Ellis's RABT. Beck, to me, gets to more deep beliefs, at least in my working through with the CBT models. Beck's cognitive therapy works on underlying deep-seated beliefs. And so to me, here comes your activating event or stimulus. And the way that it proceeds is it's in a direction like this is arrows. So the event comes and it leads to your thoughts. And so you could see, you know, the math test, you know, algebra. Thoughts are, I suck at math. You know, you fill these out, you write them out. I usually do this on a whiteboard like I'm doing now. Feelings of inadequacy, feelings of fear. Behaviors are, I don't do as good because I've got these feelings of fear, which are interfering with my thoughts of staying focused on algebra. The underlying belief here is what we cut to in the other one, which is I just suck at math. I'm never going to get this. And so what happens is, you know, this loop, which goes in basically this direction, and comes over here, and then so externally what happens is F on test. And so to me, this makes, you know, human life is just a constant feedback loop. We have things that, and so if you're kind of separating this out, this would be the client over here. And this would be the outside world. Because the client has effects on the outside world. And the outside world has effects on the client. It's a dynamic process that way. And so, you know, because the second math test is going to come around, so we can continue this feedback loop, and we can continue to get F on tests. We're not going to pass, and we're not going to be able to move on. And so where we can change things is we can change things in thoughts, and we can change things in the behaviors, and through deeply focused therapy, hopefully by modifying some of these things, we can start to change some of these beliefs. The beliefs are more resistant to change. The thoughts and the behaviors are easier to change. So these two kind of feelings and beliefs kind of go along for the ride. They're more like internal. Thoughts and behaviors are more, they're closer to influencing this outside world out here. So, you know, you can see how this kind of evolves, and you can use this as a, so you can replace these, you know, okay, what were the replacement thoughts? You know, especially like negative self-talk, you could replace negative self-talk pretty easy. I also like to use this in dyads and relationships. So, so I could, instead of having, I hope you're still following me, instead of having just these specific little events over here, I can do, especially if an adolescent or somebody's having trouble with a significant other, just put the other person over here and put their own. So basically you're making another person with their own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, and their own beliefs. And so you can see that people influence other people around them. And this can be really effective in working in in relationships. So this would be the client, maybe their significant other, or if you're working with a lot of times I'm working with adolescents, so maybe a parent over here. So then run through a situation. Parent grounds the, you're grounded for doing bad on your test. Grounded. So thoughts are, parent hates me. Feelings are angry. Behaviors are, I'm sneaking out, so I don't care. So then you can work on the client. Okay, what do you think? Do you think your parent really hates you? They hate me. What do you think they really believe? And so you see how you can really explore what another person perceives in another person and start to confront how that other person thinks, really hopefully increasing empathy, hopefully understanding your client's empathy of the other. I wouldn't use this as much in like domestically violent situations or situations where the client is a child that was a victim of abuse, because I don't want them, you could, I guess, if you're seeing them for a while, but and I may actually, want to see what responsibility, they might take for abusive situations. But anyway, I hope that that's beneficial to you. That last part is my own. And so it helps me think about and work with the client thinking through situations. But again, this is not something I'm going to pull out in my first session with them. This is something that, after I've established rapport, after I've deeply understood what's happening, I might go into my own model, and that's it. So some of you may choose to go a different direction. So there are a lot of CBT resources out there. I'll post a couple more for you. So hopefully this is helpful. You have an optional discussion board this week, so you don't have to do this, but you're more than welcome to. And what I'd like you to do is just think about what happened the past weekend, and identify something you gained from Saturday's class, whatever it might be. Then reflect on how this will be useful for you moving forward in the class and in the program. It's not required, so it's no minimum word requirements, just conversation. But I wanted to give you all a chance to talk and continue to develop. So anyway, I hope this was beneficial. I look forward to seeing you all soon, and take care and stay safe. See ya.